A new group's trying to help narrow the income gap and reverse the shrinkage of the middle class. The nonprofit's called Fair Shot. We'd like to welcome its president, Rosy Gonzalez, and organizer, Lucius. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you, Chris, for having us.
I want to start with Rosy. There are a lot of organizations and movements around income inequality, but talk about the niche that you're working in.
Sure. So we're very excited to be working with the many existing organizations doing this great work in Massachusetts. We are really focused on bringing new people into the process. So we're focused on finding people where they are, talking to them about these issues that affect their daily lives, and getting them plugged into the political process based upon an issue, not so much a candidate.
Lucius, you're the organizer. You're talking to people out in the neighborhoods in Boston and some other places. What are you hearing from them about their concerns?
Well, so a big one. Initially, what I lead with when I'm engaging people is the minimum wage, why we need to raise the minimum wage. And there's a lot of support. A lot of people feel that in Dorchester and Lynn and Brockton. We're talking about raising the minimum wage to a living wage. So obviously we're part of the fight for 15, and we would like to see the minimum wage go up to $15 an hour, and so overwhelming support for that.
Rosy, what about some of the other things that people in some of these minimum wage jobs have to contend with? I mean, scheduling, for example, especially if you're raising a family at the same time?
Yeah, so a few other things on our agenda are paid family leave, fair scheduling, both initiatives that really help people that are trying to move up. They're trying to get out of the cycle of poverty or get out of a low-wage job. So providing adequate notice to employees of the change in their schedule, which could affect things like childcare and could affect other responsibilities that families have. So working on these small policy changes that could really help people help themselves as they try to move up the economic ladder in Massachusetts.
Lucius, if people are concerned about these things and they know about them, they know that there's a problem they want to fix, what's the next step? What can they do exactly?
Well, they can get involved with us. They can go to fairshot.com and sign up to take an action. But what we're really looking to do is empower leaders. Honestly, the best thing for us that we can hear is for someone else to say that I have an idea, that I want to get involved, I want to take some action, and I want to encourage others to do the same. So what we're looking to do is just encourage folks to inform their neighbors, inform their relatives, registering other people to vote, talking to the issues talking about the issues with your family, with your friends, with neighbors, with strangers. And just what we're really trying to do is come up with some creative ways to bring people together and keep them engaged in the political process as far as this is the way to affect change.
Yeah, you recently had a meeting in Dorchester at the Adams Branch Library. What was that like?
It was really fun. We had some potential leaders come out there. We had teachers show up. We had clergy, and we teamed up a little bit with another nonprofit. And it was pretty exciting, and basically it was just a dialogue between myself as a community organizer and the community.
This is BNN News. We're talking with Rosy Gonzalez and Lucius Wade of Fair Shot. Rosy, how do you get a higher profile for some of these issues? I mean, I know there are some politicians locally who are really engaged in this, but when I look at the presidential coverage, I mean, people are hardly talking about this.
Right. Unfortunately, the presidential election is very hard to get these substantive issues being talked about right now, but they are the issues that your everyday American who is really struggling to get ahead and trying to find ways to help their families get ahead really think about and face every single day. So what we're trying to do is bring these issues to the forefront by getting more people involved, by making sure that people know that through community organizing, through political engagement, they really can make a difference in their lives, but it really starts with bringing these issues into the conversation. And so by having leaders, by working with community activists, or really with the everyday person that we find, in the laundromat, for example, which is a great place that we have found folks in, speaking to them and educating them on these issues and empowering them to take a leadership role in their own community is how we're going to start a bigger dialogue and conversation so that we can force our leadership to really confront the solutions.
Well, if you found me in a laundromat and you brought up fair scheduling, at first time I think that's small change, but on second thought, you know, for someone who's trying to work their way up out of poverty, you've got a child in school who might be having some problems, then that could be a deal breaker.
It is. It is a deal breaker. And many people do not realize that it just doesn't have to be that way. We have accepted that if you are a part-time employee or if you're a waitress, for example, that if your manager calls you and says you're actually not working the morning shift, you're working the evening shift, and they tell you on the same day that that's just the way it is. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can require employers to give adequate notice of a change in schedule because, as we know, your work hours affect so many other responsibilities that you have to fulfill in your adult life. So that's an example of, it might seem like a small issue, but it certainly does help when you're trying to just get ahead.
Lucius, I imagine a lot of people in Boston are struggling with the cost of education. It could be college debt, or it could be just not having enough money for the next semester's tuition. We just had this report coming out about many of the people from the Boston public schools that are not finishing college still. So what are you hearing from people?
Well, so one of the things that I've been really excited to inform people of is the Mayor Walsh's initiative for free community college for students that graduate with, I believe it's a 2.2 GPA. So coming out of the Boston public school system, you will get to go to community college for free. So that's a big step forward. But there are a lot of people that have had to take time off from school or were never able to finish, and it is because of that. And then that makes so many other things a lot more difficult. So a lot of the conversations that I'm having with folks when I'm talking to them at a laundromat or at a grocery store, or just having these conversations, which can in some cases become extended conversations, become very long and get into detail, and they'll let you know that it's hard to go back to school when you can't make it on your current salary. And for some of them, it's not even salary, it's a minimum, or it's an hourly wage. So if you're making $10 an hour, but you're not getting 40 hours a week, you're probably gonna have to work 2 jobs to try to afford to live in Boston or live in Dorchester, certainly.
Rosy, you should mention finally, if people want to get involved in working on any of these issues, you've got a place to can look at for more information.
Yes, we are on social media at Fair Shot, and our website, it's fairshot.com, so very simple. And we're hoping to get more people plugged in, so we hope people come and join us. And we are trying to work so that everyone has a fair shot at the American dream.
Thank you both very much, Rosy Gonzalez
and
Lucius Wade from Fair Shot.
Thank you.
Thank you.